Okay, we're gonna stream it. We're gonna stream. We're gonna stream. Hey, I'm Eric. I'm making a game. I continue to make a game. It's called The God Killer. It is a. Oh man, I haven't done it in a while. I forgot how to sell it, how to pitch it. It is a top-down 3D puzzle-solving adventure game, and it's got a kind of a Alice in Wonderland type of a. Oh god, I'm really out of practice on this. Um, let me get back to basics instead of what I memorized. So you start out as a person in an afterlife type of a situation who's just born into a new world, and the world has completely different rules. It seems to be a little bit like our own, but many important differences. Many important differences. And the first person to greet you is God himself. And he's kind of a jerk, and you got to deal with it. There's things like dying. Dying in this world is possible, but it means something entirely different. There's things like, what are the natural motivations that drive people to do things? So in our world, procreation, spreading your DNA, those are kind of at the root of just a lot of things. I mean, almost everything. Seems like nearly everything we do can be traced back to that in some way. Even some things like, I don't know, art or drawing, painting. Well, we had to have things to survive that would kind of conceptualize and visualize the world around us, and sort of make predictions what the world was going to be, deal with spatial constructs, stuff like that. And then as a side effect almost, we've got paintings on walls and in museums, and we've got statues and music, and I don't know, lots of beautiful things. They're probably kind of a side effect of us needing to survive. At least that's how I think about the world. So what if death means something different? What if you don't really need to pass on your genetic materials? What if the person in charge of it all created different rules for you and said, like, for example, that you felt just a little bit happy when you pushed a block, there's like a block on the ground and you just gave it a little shove, and suddenly like something in your brain goes, whoop, that's pleasure, that's fun, that's good. Then your whole society might be arranged around that particular thing. And I'm thinking, I by the way, I promise I'm going to keep this little musing section short. I'm going to get to a demo of some recent work. But so I think our objection to words that are obscene, that we call obscene, sometimes are based on this. So a word like fuck, which I've offended, at least one person. Not offended, but caused him to withdraw his personal contribution to the project. Totally respect his decision, but it was based on, in one of my songs called Hate Our Houses, the character says, we fight and fuck and other stuff. So I guess, why is fuck a bad word? It has to do with how we feel about sex. That maybe sex is a dirty or a bad thing. I'm not going to go deep into it. A lot of people have, and I'm not going to do any better than them. But my proposition is that if you trace it all back, it goes to the power of two things, which is really one thing, just the reproduction. So women can make babies. That is like super powerful, crazy powerful, dangerously powerful, because that's the gate to life, right? Okay, and the other thing is, it feels really, really good to have sex. So when people who want to be in power come along, they notice these two things and they say, how are we going to twist society around such that we're in control of these two powerful things? And they do it. They mess it all up. They put in like things that make you feel gross about sex, and that like you need to do it in a certain way for it to be right and correct. Otherwise, it's a sin, and it's no coincidence that the ways that they prescribe that it happens benefit the power structures that they set up. So when we react to a word like fuck and say, oh, that's a bad word, it goes all the way back to that scam that got laid down by some dudes that were like, we really got to get control of this whole thing with baby making and all the excitement that happens around it. So let's make it bad, and let's people do it our way, and then even then it's still a bit bad. Keep it out of the public space. Okay. So anyways, I went pretty far in that direction, and it's not really my goal in any of this to persuade people. So I'm going to leave any pretense of trying to get people to think a certain way on this. I'm just saying my own point of view. And people have objections to this game, parts of it, or want to withdraw their support because it changed a little bit from what they thought they were getting to. I totally understand. No problem. You're good by me. Don't even worry about it. And I'm even motivated by that one person to be more clear up front with people that are going to contribute to the game about what their precious time and expression would be going into. So that is on my to-do list. But let me get you to a song. I'm just playing with it. Now, I'm not doing, as I've explained, I'm not doing live streaming for all my music creation, which is the mode I'm in right now, because it's a bit of a sensitive task. Other things I can do with people listening and watching, and with me explaining what I'm doing as I go pretty easily. Writing code, writing dialogue, level design, no problem. I can talk and work at the same time. Music, nah. Gotta feel it, gotta just be alone with it. But I'll give you a demo of a song I'm working on now. Alright. I call it the Eggs and Bacon song. And I won't give away the plot around it. I think if I don't talk too much about the motivation for the song, it won't be spoilery. I'll just play it and I'll sing along with it. I remember how each day had to start with that whole breakfast pot. The crispy toast not limp, and don't you even skip, no, on the condiment. And why? He'd sink a continent. Her body not too fancy, pepper jack a little chancy. That sandwich, it's better if you just stick to cheddar. Eggs, they gotta be fresh, the old ones don't impress. Flavors lost makes the boss speed lightning to get the point across. Eggs and bacon, that's what he likes in a sandwich. That's what he likes, eggs and bacon with cheese, yes please. His salad meal is a big ass deal. Eggs and bacon, that's what he likes in a sandwich. That's what he likes, eggs and bacon with cheese, yes please. His holy meal is a big ass deal. Open the door, open the gate. Serve it up on a golden plate. We'll make a plan which gets us to heaven. Breakfast sandwich takes us to heaven. Used to say that every day had to start with the work of art to be consumed for pleasure's sake. The state of treasures couldn't wait. Offbeat. Love sandwich like a wife. It never needs a fork and knife. It just goes in and then you win. Breakfast is joy without sin. Lots of books, but his favorite. Told us all how to savor it. Breakfast sandwich manifesto. You never could begin to guess how detailed those commandments were. He demanded the yolk be stirred, I was coached, the eggs be poached. Spare us all divine reproach. Eggs and bacon, that's what he likes. In a sandwich, that's what he likes. Eggs and bacon with cheese, yes please. It's all they made is a big ass deal. Eggs and bacon, that's what he likes. In a sandwich, that's what he likes. Eggs and bacon with cheese, yes please. It's all they made is a big ass deal. Open the door, open the gate. Serve it up on a golden plate. We'll make a plan which gets us to heaven. Build a sandwich takes us to heaven. And that's the start of it. And I got the lyrics, you know. I got like a beat I like. I'm coming at this one a little bit different. Instead of getting all the music exactly right, I'm trying to get the lyrics a little more in line. And that takes a lot of fiddling around. And even then, I'm not going to be the one to sing this in the final. Because the character that sings this is definitely not going to be voiced by me. I'm going to find, probably amongst a short list of folks I've worked with before, someone who can pull off the character voice and the singing here. The sing rapping. It's a little bit talky. It's not full singing. So yeah, that's that. And hold on. It occurs to me, it's really rude to do this. If someone was trying to chat me, well, I just recorded all that. I didn't have the chat window up, so I would not have seen them, and that would have been heartbreaking. So then let's double check. No, okay, no chats. That's fine. Absolutely fine. So, okay, I'm going to make, right now, on stream, I will make my list of things that people might be offended by for potential future contributions for people to make them well-informed. I don't want anybody coming into this business and feeling like I embarrassed them or tricked them into doing something that they didn't want to do. Let's see. So let me bring up the chat window while I work. And that's fine. Okay, so let me think about this. What are all the things that could make people upset? New document. Called reasons to object to. I don't know, for lack of a better title. Go. I might start by taking a look at ESRB ratings. ESRB, I don't think it's enough for everything. So, that's interesting. I could do mature. I could do adults only. Let me see. May contain intense violence, blood and gore, sexual content, and or strong language. I think. So it may include prolonged scenes of intense violence, graphic sexual content. No. and or gambling with real currency. See, this is going back to it. Why the hell is this like an adults only thing? The violence I kind of get, the sex I don't. That's where I'm at personally. But doesn't matter. I want to play by my society's rules. I want to speak to people in the language they are accustomed to. So let me just assume that I'm going for a mature rating because these other things don't really apply to the game. Okay, so content descriptors. Let me think about this. ESRB. Probably M for mature. Just thinking about all of them. Alcohol references, drug references, no, game will not have that. So let's see. Alcohol references. No, not because I'm opposed to it, but just because they aren't really germane. Blood. Depictions of blood, yes. I'll just say that. I'll just say yes. Blood, yes. Cartoon violence. Yes, I guess so. Yeah, it's unrealistic violence, I imagine. It's not really cartoon violence, it's just that the way people die, it doesn't have like the whole normal anatomicalness to it. They just explode. Crude humor. I'm just going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. Yes to crude humor. Even though I don't really think of it as crude humor, the stuff that I'm doing, I feel like erring on the side of saying, yeah, it's crude humor. Just because somebody else might consider it crude humor. Fantasy violence. Human or non-human characters in situations easily distinguishable. This is actually more where I'm at. Not cartoon violence, fantasy violence. That's where I'm at. So cartoon violence, no. Fantasy violence, yes. Beyond cartoon violence. Animated blood. Discolored and or unrealistic depictions of blood. Yeah, that would be me. So maybe I kind of don't understand like why they have both of these. I think animated blood. Yeah, animated blood. It seems to be like that's a continuation of the other one. I'm not an expert on these ratings. Say blood, animated blood. Okay, blood and gore. Depictions of blood and or the mutilation of body parts. No, things just explode. It's very unrealistic. Blood and gore. No. Comic mischief. Yeah. It sounds like such a silly thing to worry about. Comic mischief. I suppose it could matter, right? If you got like some little toddler and you don't want them running around slapping people. Comic mischief. Yeah, I can think of at least one thing that has comic mischief. Drug reference. Okay, drug reference. No. Intense violence. Realistic looking. It's not going to be realistic looking. Intense violence. Intense violence. No. Oh, I want all of them, yeah. Okay, here we go. Language. Mild or moderate use of profanity. I'm going to just look at strong language. I think that kind of supplants language. Explicit and or frequent. I'm just going to say strong language because I want to err on the side of describing more that we end up doing than what we actually do so that people can avoid it. So there's a song where somebody says, "We fight and we fucking eat bloody feasts." Okay? And then there probably won't be anyone saying fuck for a long time after that. But I don't know. I just feel like let's err on the side of telling people it's strong. Let's say beyond language. Beyond, yeah. Okay. Lyrics. Mild references to profanity. Yeah, that's what I got. Lyrics. Yes. Nudity. No, I don't have nudity. Oh, I'll get mixed up if I don't go all down this column at one time. So let's see. Language. Mature humor. Yeah, I'm going to say mature humor. Which I guess is one up from crude humor. Let's see. I think it is. I don't know. This is a kind of a weird way they've organized this. Beyond crude humor. Because if you have one, there's no point in saying that you also have the other. Would I say I have fantasy violence and also cartoon violence? Nah, it would just be at one level, right? Okay. Partial nudity. Nah. Partial nudity. Ooh. Sexual content. Non-explicit. Yes, I do have that. But it's more like a discussion of sex. Yes. Sexual violence. No, I don't have that. I can say this pretty confidently because I've got the whole friggin' story mapped out. Strong sexual content. No. Tobacco reference. Nope. Use of drugs. New. Violence. Scenes involving aggressive conflict may contain bloodless dismemberment. Yeah, I'll say yes. Violence. Yes. Okay, where was I at on this side? I did lyrics. I think I did nudity. Yeah, I did. Real gambling? No. Gambling. Real gambling. No. Sexual themes. That's what I got. Not a lot of. It's not like just totally made up of. Let's see. Sexual themes. Okay. It's not a lot of that. It's not just. It's not a mainstay of it. It's just that. It's like I was talking about at the beginning of this stream. It enters into the story and, like, you know, what motivates people. Why do they do things? But I don't put anything on screen to titillate. Simulated gambling. No. Simulated gambling. No. Okay. Strong lyrics. What's the difference between lyrics and strong lyrics? Mild references. Explicit. Let's say it's explicit, because I'm actually using the word fuck. Okay, so lyrics come up to strong lyrics. Beyond. I also say shit. And shitty and crappy and a few words like that. Suggestive themes. Not really. Like I said, there's no point in it when I'm trying to get anybody aroused or titillated. Suggestive themes. No. Use of alcohol, use of tobacco. No. Violent references. Yes. Yes. Definitely. That's all right. I guess I'm slightly happy when I can say yes. Okay. Over. Probably am for mature rating. Okay. And I could group these better than they did on their own website. Because clearly, like, the tobacco and drug stuff should go together, right? Oh, did they just go alphabetical? That's what they did. So they did group it. So I could go substances. Okay. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So I go substances. And by the way, I think this is kind of the baby shit that they got here. Like, this is not the real stuff that's going to offend people about this game. This is the baby stuff. Wah. Okay, alcohol and tobacco. Okay, group all that together. But I did not design this game for kids. I'm not thinking about it for, like, I kind of hate this idea that some parent someplace would hold it against me that a game exists that their child could be damaged by when, like, there's some points of view out there that it just shouldn't be made. It shouldn't exist because maybe they're thinking, like, games are only for kids. We gotta have some stuff for the rest of us too. Okay, so let's see, what's the next category? Blood and gore. Cool. Blood, gore. Blood, animated blood and gore. everything that says violence in it, basically. Violence. Okay. What else we got? Humor. Comic mischief. Oh, beware of comic mischief. Okay. Language, strong language, lyrics, strong lyrics. Okay. Nudity. Nudity and partial nudity. Gambling. Okay, and then what's the last one? Sexuality. Okay. So I do like standards. This one doesn't seem bad, to be honest. Doesn't seem bad. Let me talk. Let me add a little statement underneath each one. It is a story is set in a fantasy world. Okay, covers that pretty well. Things die by exploding into particles. Violence. There is okay, now here's where I have to stop and think about, like, what actually could somebody be offended by, even though by the ESRB rules they may not be offended. There's lots of violence depicted non-realistically. Please see death topic below. I'll talk about death below. Okay, humor. Humor sometimes references sexuality, but not frequently. Okay. Language. Occasional swearing, or words like shit and fuck. Used to support specific story goals. You know what? I don't want to say that. That's like I'm trying to like clean it up. If I say shit and fuck, that's just what I do. And like me trying to justify it, like on the receiving end of it, the person who worries about words like that being used, they don't care if I say shit and fuck artfully. It just sounds pretentious to kind of like say, yes, but I'm swearing in a wonderful way. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, nudity, partial nudity. Characters are generally not designed for titillation. I'll say they're clothed or generally not designed for titillation. Some non-human creatures don't wear clothes, but there's nothing suggestive about them. See gender topic below. Gambling. No gambling. No gambling. Sexuality. Sex is discussed as part of the motivations for why people might do things, but it's not brought up for titillation. Is such a weird word. Titillation. Are you titillated? I think because it has the word tit in it, makes it extra fun. But also it sounds frilly. It sounds like there's some pearl clutching going on when you say it. Titillation. For titillation. Titillation. Human nature. People. See gender topic below. Okay. Okay. Ideas and concepts that may offend. Okay, so the first one is death. Next one is gender. Depiction of God. I wouldn't say God because there's a number of things that it could offend. Okay, God and religion. Okay. Okay, God and religion. God is portrayed as a fallible and dislikable character. And I feel like writing some stuff that would mitigate that. But that would be spoilers. Let me see if I can write something that explains the goals a little bit better. No. Let it be interpreted at its worst. I feel there are some things that balance it back the other way, and I've got some sympathies for people that might see God coming up short in a fictional work and want to see him do better than he's being depicted as doing. And I feel that the story is really going to address that, but I can't give it away, and I don't want to try to mitigate these things that are going to bother people. I don't want to say, but it's okay, because if I'd rather err on the side of them thinking this is going to offend me, so that they will walk away from involvement. They won't sign a release form, because that's another thing I have to do. It's like when I get contributions from people, I have to say, okay, make sure you read all this stuff and then sign a release form. If you're good to continue, no harm done. If you don't want to be part of it, no harm done. Respect your beliefs and values. I just want to make sure you go with it and sign the release form. I don't want them to feel they've been bait and switched later on, so I'm going to always err on the side of showing what could offend them. Okay. Fallible, malicious, unintelligent, unempathetic. See, I'm making it bad. I'm just pulling no punches here. Okay. God swears. Briefly. He does. God. God's name is used in the game, in the story. He is a fictitious character. So technically, I won't even say technically. So some might say, let's see, some Christians or similar faiths may object to the Lord's name taken in vain. That's my Christian upbringing. You're not supposed to say God unless you're actually talking about God proper. Let's see, what else? Religion of inside of the story's world is depicted as arbitrary, and not helpful to its adherents followers, some followers of the religion or God's instructions. Religion or God's instructions. Because there's never anything in the story about like specifically calling it a religion. It's just that God shows up and rather directly tells people what they should do, and then like maybe his lieutenants interpret that a little bit and get the word out with their own little twist on it. But yeah, that's an interesting thought, because would we even have religion if God was in direct communication with us? It would just be like, well, just tell me what God says. I don't need to have faith or believe in anything. I just read the news, see what he says we got to do. Some followers of the religion or God's instructions are depicted as corrupt, self-centered, and stupid. Hypocritical? No, I didn't go with that. I didn't go with hypocritical. It's just been done to death. Okay. Okay. What else might offend somebody? That I can talk about. I think that's a pretty good list. I think that's a pretty good list. Okay. Now, let's say alternative views of creation are discussed. Of, let's say, the creation event, or how the universe began, are discussed. There we go. Now I think I'm legit here. Now I think I'm telling people what might get them pissed off at me. Okay, death. Okay. Death is portrayed as a temporary state with only a small penalty, and that's an understatement. Let's say with no lasting penalty. Characters die and are immediately reborn. Inside of an egg. Dying on purpose is a requirement in the game. Okay, this one I think I should definitely let people know about. Dying on purpose, and I'll use the strong word, or suiciding, is a requirement in the game. It is like teleporting. It gives an ability. It gives a teleportation ability. Let's thought of another thing. some biblical events are satirized. E.g., Garden of Eden story. Not satirized, is that the right word? I'll just say spoofed. Okay. Death. While no realistic violence is portrayed, there is a scene where a character continuously stabs the main character and describes reasons for doing it. Violence or blood is portrayed. Doing it, okay. It is implied but not shown that every time anybody in this world dies, the same stabbing process is enacted upon the person dying. Okay, what else? God, this is such a giveaway. I gotta write it spoiler free. Another character a device is designed that delivers I don't want to give it away. Continuous torture. Okay. Again, no realistic violence or blood. Okay. The nature of death is explored and discussed in various ways. Okay, I think I covered death. Okay, gender. Characters in the game are neither male or female. They are genderless. But they are still depicted as male or female. It is explicitly mentioned at one point, mentioned as explanation of how the world works, that characters do not have genitalia. Okay. I'll say described, because when you say mention, it makes it sound like you're trying to cover it up, like, yeah, it's still a mention. Just a little mention. Just while I was walking by, I thought I might mention something. Yeah, no, I'll just say described. I'm not covering up anything. I want people coming into this thing eyes wide open. What else might offend somebody? Let's go back. Oh yeah, the main character joyfully rebels against aspects of God and religion. The main character may or may not kill God purposefully or accidentally. Can't spoil this. Please assume the worst. The worst thing in deciding on your objections. Purposefully, I misspelled? Oh, purposely? Oh, interesting. Purposely. Wow. It's not purposefully, it's purposely. Cool, I like that. Okay, I got it. Here it is. And then I've got ratings guide here, which I can cross-reference. We do not have an ESRB rating, but for purposes of using a common standard to calibrate against, wee stuff, pretentious, I guess. I do not have referring for the God Killer, but okay. Wherever possible, I've rounded up in the assessments towards what might offend someone, even if I thought there were mitigating factors. If you were to, if the God Killer game were to receive an overall ESRB rating, it would likely be M for mature, e.g. 17 plus age. However, the ESRB rating system does not cover ideas and how they could affect and offend people. So I have added an additional section describing ideas presented in the game which may be offensive to some. Okay. So let's see. Summary. Okay, this is heading 1, and this is ESRB self-assessment. Okay. Heading 1. Okay. Okay, heading 1. Nah, because I'll leave that just to be clear that I'm not listing things I think are cool. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying this might bother you. Okay, God and religion, gender. Thought of one more category, topic category, politics. It should be under politics or psychology, this thing that I'm thinking of. I can put it back under death. The mass killers are described, famous mass killers from the real world are described as having an influence on a character. Okay. Death, and I'll make this death and violence. Okay. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. I should put it on my website, but that's a off-stream task. That is an off-stream task for security reasons. So I think that's good. I'm gonna wrap it up. Wrap up the stream. I'm gonna stop the stream. I'm gonna stop this stream. I'm gonna stop it. Stopping the stream. Stopping the stream. Stopping it. Stopping it. Stop.